Fishbowl TV is live.
Alrighty then, the big hand is on the 12 and the little hand is on the 7, so I called to order this meeting of the School Administrative Unit Number 12 School Board and Londonderry School District School Board. It's been a whole year and nobody has explained that one to me yet. And I would like to ask anybody who has a birthday today to please lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One more year, Rich, and you get your first free edition of AARP.
Yes.
There you go.
Thank you for that.
All right, with the board's consent, the first thing I'm going to do is screw up the agenda entirely. We have some representatives from the senior class in the high school here who would like to talk about their proposed senior class trip. It's item 6.3 under deliberations, but in order to let them get back to their studies, I'd like to take it now.
Sure.
So if you guys would like to come on up to the podium and welcome. Good evening.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, I'm actually talking about prom because it's quicker.
Okay.
My name's Katrina, and the prom this year is going to be on May 26th. It's a Saturday from 6 to 11. That's the usual time. And we're having it at the Manchester Radisson because we thought it was more size efficient for our class. And they've had several proms there before. So, yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
No, I guess the only concern that I've ever had regarding the prom is, are there enough tickets for everybody who wants to attend?
Yeah, we have tickets. We have keychains that are tickets, and then we also have printed tickets. We have 500 keychains, and then we also have 1,000 tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So we will, unless more than 1,000 people come.
Okay.
To answer your question, the facility is so big that that's why we chose.
Sure.
What we did.
And it's been a number of years since that issue came up, I'm aware, but it just always comes to mind.
But when it comes up,
Yeah, it comes up big. Are we still doing the Queen's Closet, is it? Princess's Closet? Mm-hmm. Which is a really neat program. Are you familiar enough with that to talk about that, or?
No.
Okay. That is a really neat program that provides really nice prom gowns to students who might not be able to go to a store and put down multiple hundreds of dollars on them. Brian, do you know how people go about getting involved in that?
Brian, you got to talk.
Yeah.
You got to go up there. Make sure that's on.
Hi, I'm Brian Cornamage, teacher at the high school. Yeah, if you want to have any information on that, you can go to House 2 in Art Salidas' office. They have all the information that's there, not just if you wanted to perhaps acquire one, but also donate as well, which is, it's a great cause, as you said.
Because clearly, when you think of prom gowns, you think of Art Salidas.
Absolutely.
so if people are not in the school and they wanted to do a donation, they would go to londonderry.org and then go to the high school section and look for Art Salidas' contact information.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, terrific. Have a great time. That's something that tends to rent out like every limousine in the state, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's a great thing. My sons loved it. The multiple years, at least one of them went. Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm going to talk about the senior trip today, and I'm just going to propose the idea that we have 2 years ago, the class of 2011 did a Cedardale trip, which was basically...
We're going to need the name for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm Ashley Kwiatkowski.
I can help with that later.
And they did a Cedardale trip, which was basically an open garden area. They had games to play, they had places to swim, and then the class of 2011 last year chartered a boat, and they did a boat cruise along the Boston Harbor. So our plan for this year was to combine the two ideas, and what we have planned is a trip to Thompson Island, and for those of you who aren't familiar, It's a little, it's a biggish island out in Boston Harbor, and we're gonna charter a boat. It's about a half-hour, 45 chartered boat ride to the island. And then once we get there, it's filled with games, it's gonna be catered, and then there's gonna be a bonfire, it's gonna have a lifeguard and swimming, and then we'll charter the boat back. And then we're shooting for about $50 per person.
Terrific. Where does this, where do you go to meet the boat?
The boat, we have, if we do charter the one, depending on how many people we have, we still have to get an accurate number. If we decide to charter one, we're gonna go out of Rose Wharf. But if we don't have as many as we are expecting, they have their own private dock in like the financial district. And we've visited before, and it's a nice dock.
Okay. And how are people getting to the Rose Wharf?
We are leaving the school, and we're leaving around 12:30 to make sure students eat before they get there. And we're gonna take school buses down, and then they'll pick us back up and bring us back to the school.
We charter the buses.
Yeah, didn't there I got no problem with you using the buses. Didn't there used to be a law that said school buses can't cross state lines?
No, we go to Boston all the time.
Okay.
Maine because of an issue, Maine has an issue, but Massachusetts.
Okay. Yeah, I figured you knew what you were doing and just popped up. This sounds like a great thing. This sounds like the thing that people pay thousands of dollars on a Caribbean cruise to go to the private island for. So this looks really great. As long as you don't have parasailing on the approach route to Logan Airport, I think you should be fine. Do we need a motion on this?
Sure.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept this, approve this?
So moved, discussion.
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. For discussion, Steve?
It really pleased me that you specifically mentioned you were going to also charter a boat back from the island.
Just so everyone's clear.
I'd hate to have those school buses just sitting there. I hope you guys have a good time. It sounds like it's a good trip, and it's something I call through the eyes of a child. So, not that you guys are children, you're young adults, but it sounds like fun. Thank you.
This is going to be great. I hope you get good weather. Motion on the floor. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's 3-0. Thanks very much. Have a great time. Is there anything else you guys need from us? Okay, great. Thank you for coming. All right. Back to the agenda. Questions, comments, announcements, presentations. Anybody? Come on up, Jay.
Good evening. Londonderry High School is pleased to announce we have 3 National Merit finalists, Matt Dalzell, James Giles, and Lindsay O'Donnell. Most high schools are fortunate to have one. We have 3 this year. So
Nice.
congratulations to them. We just wanted that to be
That's-
publicly.
That's great. Exactly what does that mean? I mean, in terms of opportunities for awards and things.
That means that 1.5 million juniors took a PSAT exam across the country. The top 50,000 students were recognized as commended students, and the top 16,000 were recognized as national semifinalists. These 3, for their scores in their application, were part of the top 8,000 scores in the country, and they'll be looking at an opportunity to earn scholarships.
That's terrific. Let us know if there's any way we can help them get them.
Yeah.
It's getting on toward the time when scholarships are beginning to loom large in seniors' minds. Anything else from the gallery assembled here? Anything from the board? Okay, moving right along to the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. I'm rather sorry to note the retirement of SPED teacher Susie Dalzell. Sue is a calm, sensitive teacher who has been providing special educational support to the students at South School for 23 years. She builds strong connections with her students who come back and remember the way she taught them essential skills and made them feel good about who they were as listeners. She is happy just to know her students had benefited from her instruction. Sue's dedication to the students she works with is seen when she serves spaghetti at the grade 5 cross-country spaghetti dinner and is out on the field with them. Although a quiet presence in the school, Sue's impact is strong. Students and staff have benefited from her expertise in the field and will remember her kind and gentle ways. She has been an asset to the school and district and will be missed. And we thank you very much for your 23 years of fine service to the district and our students and our SPED population, and we wish you the best in your retirement. Upcoming meetings are a non-public session on March 6th. Then the election is held on March 13th, 2012. And the school board reorganization will take place on March 20th in the town offices at 7 p.m. Motion has been made and seconded on the consent agenda. I should also mention that this includes the minutes from January 17th and January 30th. All those in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's 3-0. Moving right along, committee reports. CAFA. It has been a pleasure being the chair with you, representing the Student Council. Thank you for everything that you did.
Thank you guys for welcoming me. Okay. So, between February 1st and February 5th, Mrs. Sampson and 4 students attended the LEAD conference in Washington, D.C. During the trip, the students had the opportunity to meet with Senator John McCain and Senator Kelly Ayotte in the White House, as well as tour some of Washington, D.C. and some of the Smithsonian museums. All the students had a wonderful time at the conference and learned many leadership skills. On Friday, February 3rd, excuse me, the LHS Marching Band and Color Guard traveled to Manchester to perform on ice for the Manchester Monarchs. The band performed portions of 3 selections on the ice, as well as the national anthem at the beginning of the game. Getting on and off the ice, no one fell, so that makes the performance a success. On February 4th, a group of about 20 students and Mr. Milne participated in the annual Penguin Plunge event at Hampton Beach. The air temperature was about 35 degrees, and the water temperature was about 43 degrees. The students had a fabulous time, and many hope to participate in the event next year. And as a whole, Special Olympics of New Hampshire raised about $670,000 from both the students and the adults that did the event. So a big success for them. During the first 2 weeks of February, different organizations around the school participated in the annual Dollars for Scholars event. As a whole, about $10,000 was raised to give to graduating LHS seniors. On Wednesday, February 8th, the winter workshop was held at Pinkerton Academy. About 10 students from Londonderry attended the event, and the students took part in various team-building activities, as well as workshops to help improve each school's student council. All of the students enjoyed the afternoon with other fellow leaders and STUCO members. On Monday, February 12th and Tuesday, February 13th, the Student Council, or Tuesday, February 14th, excuse me, the Student Council distributed the survey results from the Match-O-Matics surveys. In total, about 850 students in the school participated in the event, and the Student Council sold each for about $1 each. Everyone was extremely excited about the event, and everybody had a pretty good time sharing their results with their friends and such. This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the LHS Drama Club will be presenting The Wedding Singer at the Adams Memorial Opera House in Derry. There will be evening shows each day, as well as a matinee show on Saturday afternoon, and the only 2 shows that are not sold out are Saturday afternoon and tomorrow night. All the students have been working extremely hard on this comical and entertaining show. They cannot wait to display all of their hard work during the performances. On Wednesday, February 22nd, Honors Math students at LHS have been given the option to take part in the American Mathematics competition during B and C periods in the CAF. This test is distributed worldwide and includes some of the toughest math problems that these students will ever see, and students are excited for the challenge. A much-needed vacation will be coming up in a week and a half, so we're all excited about that. And on a final note, the National Honor Society distributed their candy for their annual candy sale, so if anybody wants Skittles or Crunch Bars, I have them.
Yeah. Let me see if I have any cash. Thanks very much. Stella, you and Steve have provided some really remarkable and informative insight into what's been going on in the schools this year. So again, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Well, I have my Destination Imagination t-shirt on. They are doing instant challenges at South School as we speak. I was down there for about 3 hours and helping the students run through their instant challenges. We have about 17 teams. And it's really great to see them do the instant challenges that they do. And at North School, the students have been busy preparing for Mulan. And Mulan will be presented at the Palace Theater on Tuesday evening, April 10th. There have been over 500 tickets sold already, but there are plenty still available if anybody wants to go. If they do, they can contact the Palace box office. The cast will also be singing for the governor in Concord on Wednesday, March 28th. And at Matthew Thornton, the Matthew Thornton Wellness Committee is sponsoring the third annual Fit Fair next Wednesday night, February 22nd, and every Wednesday is Wellness Day. And underneath my Green Destination Imagination t-shirt, I have my Wellness t-shirt on to sponsor that. And at South School, Deanna Poulin reports that the South School Drama Club is underway. They've been practicing for their production of Peter Pan. There are about 65 4th and 5th grade students and 15 to 20 staff volunteers that take part in the club. And the show will go on in April. They're gearing up for a field trip next week to the Palace Theater to see a production of Peter Pan and get a backstage tour of that. And the students are really excited about the trip, and this is the first time the drama club's gone up there. Also, the New Hampshire History Museum will be coming to South School next week to give a presentation to all the 4th grade classes on the Abenaki people and how they lived in New Hampshire. And Leslie Schilling reports that she has a recently published author and illustrator coming to South School to introduce her children's book to 1st and 2nd graders on Wednesday, February 22nd. And at the middle school, they had another successful PTO book fair. Teachers put in their wish list for books to stock their classroom libraries, and with the literacy initiative, it is expected that all teachers of all content areas will have a text-rich classroom. The book fair was able to donate $3,000 in books back into the classrooms. A huge thank you goes to Melissa Coate for organizing and running the book fair, and to all the parents who supported it, either by buying books or putting books into their student classes. The middle school's literacy team is making their once-monthly LMS Loves to Read even sweeter by offering our Read and Treat fundraisers, as if a whole block of sustained reading either way with the guest reader individually isn't treat enough. In December, homemade cookies supplied by the school's baking club were sold, and in January, with the help of the high school's Pay It Forward group, who worked alongside the students, they were able to raise just under $100 to put more books onto the shelves of teachers' classrooms. And another way the literacy team has been raising money is for purchasing books for teachers and students is through MovieNet. All movies shown are based upon stories that were first published as books. The first movie was in December, and it was Polar Express, and brought in over $200. The middle school will host a second movie night, Coraline, based on the novel by Neil Gaiman. And at the high school, the following students participated in the first Model United Nations that Wyndham High School ran on Saturday, February 11th. And Barbara Mee is their advisor, and the following students were Nathan McKay Wright, Scott Murphy, Emma Tallo, Laura Tebow, Derek Burns, Julie Walker, and Samuel Breslow. And Katie Sullivan reports that the Pay It Forward group at the high school finished their Pennies for Patients program, and they raised $250 for the community, which is wonderful. The high school drama club, and Kappa already mentioned that, will present The Wedding Singer. And Howard Sobolok reports that the girls' basketball continues to remain in third place with a big win over Memorial Unified. And the girls' ski team had a successful first season. And the boys' indoor track team placed third. And the wrestling team was runner-up at the Tri-County League. And the LMSL Cheer Squad was runner-up at the Tri-County League competition. The LMSM Cheer Squad placed fourth at the Tri-County League.
Great. Thank you very much. Nancy, had a fun first year?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Great. You're up.
Oh, what?
Reports,
I
committees.
don't have any
Okay.
this evening.
I just saw Ron Wolf.
Yeah, I did too. Steve, had a fun ninth year?
Yeah, I don't have anything, yes, it's going to be a lot of fun next year. I just got word before the meeting, the Senate took up the constitutional amendment for eliminating the adequate education requirements. And the vote on it, they were successful in it. The vote was 8-16. You'll have to excuse me because I don't know the names of everyone that voted for it, but I do know that all of the Democrats in the Senate voted against it. I'd also like to thank Derry's senator, Laconia's senator, and most especially Senator Sharon Carson for voting against the constitutional amendment to eliminate their requirement to provide funding for an adequate education.
Good on you, Sharon.
The bill is considerably, their bill is considerably different than the bill that the House voted on, so they're going to have to work that out, and there'll likely be revotes on it. So it's not over till it's over. If this is passed by the House and the Senate, the governor's already said that he would support it and sign it, which means it would go to the polls in a presidential year for voting the supermajority by the residents of the state of New Hampshire. Although it's a long way off if that were to happen, I certainly would appreciate people voting against the constitutional amendment, although they indicate that it is intended to allow them to target funding. It's simply a method to eliminate their responsibility to provide the $3,450 or so that they trickle down to us. That's it.
Thank you. Ron, we're on committee reports?
No committee reports from me.
Okay. This would have been a lot more seamless at the top of the meeting, but at this point, we're going into deliberations. We've already done 6.3. I am going to turn the gavel over to Ron for the balance of the meeting. This is his last meeting as a member of the board, and what I know about being the chairman I learned from Steve and Ron, a.k.a. the Masters, and I'd like to see him handle one more. So,
Thank you.
your meeting.
Okay, 6.3 you said we were at, or?
We did 6.3.
Okay, so 6.1 or?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, 6.1. Nate, you want to
Yes,
take us?
Yep, and Rich and Carol also worked on the calendar. We're presenting to you tonight the proposed 2012-2013 school calendar. Some key points here as you look at the calendar. One, we matched up our winter, February, and April vacations with both Manchester and Alvern. As the board knows, we have about 125 of our high school students that go to vocational programs, so it's extremely important we match them up. From the calendar itself, we're looking at a first day of school on the 28th of August, which would give us a 3-day week, first week, a 4-day week, the second week starting on September 4th, and then going into a 5-day week, the second week in September, which gives us a nice transition. Another thing, if you notice that we have a national election on November 6th. What we decided to do, one way in which we thought we could at least eliminate some of the fracturing that we always have in November, is make that a parent conference day too. So instead of having a day, no school on Election Day, and then either on the 9th or the 16th, a parent conference day, we thought we'd combine it. That way we pick up a day in November. Thanksgiving holiday is in its traditional position. First day of vacation in December would be the 24th. January, we have the 21st, which is Martin Luther King's, or Civil Rights Day, Martin Luther King's Day. February, it's the last week in February, and it flops over, the vacation flops over into the first day of March. Then there is a parent conference day on the 15th, an early release day on the 27th. April vacation begins the 22nd. Then we have in May an early release day on the 22nd of May, and 27th is obviously Memorial Day, and that day is school. The last day of school would be the 27th of June if we have 10 snow days, and we would back up from there. So what we try to do with the calendar is basically eliminate some of the fracturing that we've had, also make sure that our calendars matched up with Manchester and Alvern because of vocational programs, and also made sure our vacations, the vacation schedule was on an off week from Massachusetts, so that we didn't run into the problem where you had both Massachusetts and New Hampshire off at the same time. We did put in 4 teacher workdays at the beginning of the year for staff development work and getting classes organized, and we think that'll work out well. And then there's a teacher workshop day after the last day of school. I think those are pretty much the highlights of the calendar.
Questions from the board?
I don't have a question, I just want to make a comment, and I clearly recognize that this calendar is not going to change for me. However, I would like to just express my concern and object to the day having the day off before Thanksgiving, on behalf of all of those individuals, including myself, that do not work inside the system.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was confused by that.
Would you like me to make it clearer?
Yeah.
I object to having the day off before
Oh,
Thanksgiving.
you would rather that they go to school today?
Yes.
I'd rather they go to school on Saturday, so.
Well,
Oh, there goes the 18-year-old.
I might object. I might object to that.
I'm sorry.
John.
I did have a serious question.
What day do the Mayans say the world is going to end?
21st of December.
December 21st, and we don't even have that off. Would that be a snow day?
We'll probably can't.
Okay.
Thanks. Apocalypse Day.
We're going to make that a blizzard bag day.
Start date.
Maybe we ought to call it a blizzard bag day.
Huh?
Maybe it ought to be
They
a
could call
blizzard
it a
bag day.
doomsday bag day.
Steve?
Nate,
Yes, sir.
so actually, in the top 10 list of complaints I've had when I've been on the board is that November is so fractured and
Right.
difficult for the students to stay engaged because they keep popping them out of the school. So how much does this hold the month together?
Well, it helps.
I don't think it's the ultimate solution.
No. What it does is, instead of having that first week of November, 2 days off, it's down to 1. That's the election day, which we would have had to have off anyways because it's a presidential election. So it condenses that somewhat. The 12th, there's nothing we can do about that because that's Veterans Day. So what we try to do is, within the parameters with which we can operate, instead of having 16 days in November, we now have 17, and we have less of a fracturing of instruction. So that what you wind up with is you got 4 days the first week, you got 4 days the second week, then you have 2 days the following week, which is before Thanksgiving, and then a full week coming back. So we try to cut out the fracturing on it. And Nancy raises a good point, but one of the things that at least I've found over the years is more and more we find people, because people's families are spread out all over the place, we have a lot of people who are leaving that day before or even that night before, and you wind up with relatively low attendance. It does become an issue. There are other districts that do it differently, but we found that a lot of people just go. So we try to address the issue within the confines that we had. So, issues that have been raised have been the fracturing in November. So we try to at least squish the parent conference and election day into one. We thought that was a good thing to do. The other month that gets, and so that's the way we try to address it.
So in a non-election year, you would gain yet another day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Go ahead. Just one thing on that day is, that's what we found here when we did it, and that was well before Nate's time here, was we were getting attendance somewhere between 60 and 70% on that day.
And I understand that, but I still object.
I work Friday, so
I'll save you a turkey leg.
Yeah, thank you.
and Veterans Day. In regards to the calendar, there's also a discussion later in the evening about changes to the calendar in the future, so people know that that's coming.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the board? Questions from the audience? May I have a motion to accept the 2012-2013 calendar?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. Okay. Next one is the electronic progress report survey.
Yes, Jay and Rich, and you guys have to make sure you got to talk in that microphone up there.
At the last school board meeting, Rich and I proposed a pilot to run electronic progress reports during the third and fourth quarter. We feel the information in X2 is more accurate, more timely, and provides students and parents with essentially the same product online. When they click a tab, they'll literally see the progress report. The school board tabled that discussion and asked us to conduct a survey with parents to get input from them, asking what they would prefer. What we found when we conducted the one-week survey, 1,420 people responded, with 1,188 parents preferring to receive progress reports electronically and 232 preferring paper copies. So with 84% in favor of our recommendation, we again ask the board to consider this pilot.
Questions from the board?
That
John?
survey, just to let you know, represented about 50% of the total student population.
This isn't a trick question, but were people who currently do not receive communications from us electronically, were they included in the survey pool?
Yeah, we sent home, the secretary sent home paper copies of this online, although we made the assumption too, talking with Sean, that 95%, I don't want to
I was
misquote.
going to say that population accounts for about 5%.
Follow.
We don't have addresses for.
So it didn't go to the people that normally get paper copies. They had the chance to respond either way.
Do we currently have any kind of mechanism in place where parents confirm that they've seen a progress report? Do they have to sign it and have it returned?
Not at the high school.
Okay. Rich, do we?
Yes, at the middle school, we send the paper copies home, and they are supposed to return it within the week.
Do you have any concern about losing that?
No, because by the time those progress reports come back, John, we're already, again, another week or two into that time between progress reports and report cards. So in terms of parents that have seen it right off the bat, that's the most important thing to us, is trying to get that accurate piece right on time rather than ahead of time. So no, I don't feel that would be a problem.
Okay.
The other piece, just so you know, that we require our staff to call home if a student is in danger of failing and or failing. So those calls are made, or there's email correspondence.
Yeah, it's gotta be fun.
About that, yeah. Not easy calls, but they're doing it, weekly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Yeah, I have one. Actually, this might be more of a question for Sean. And I don't know how to ask this question other than to tell you that at my place of business, there are some emails, for example, that our server doesn't recognize, and they go into my spam mail. Certainly, we would hope that we're getting emails for home addresses, but do we have any assurance that any of these, that parents are going to be receiving these electronically?
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, once we send it,
Right.
We can't guarantee that they've got it, except when we get feedback from them or we get a bounce back.
Okay, so I was going to say, do you get a bounce back?
We
Okay.
get a bounce back if the address is invalid.
Yeah.
If it went into a spam folder on their end because of something they have set up, we have no way of knowing that.
Okay. Right.
Didn't we used to have a known bug with Gmail?
With Gmail,
Yeah. I mean, for example, I would send, I think I sent them to you, Rich, some emails that wound up in your spam folder, and I didn't know if that was a two-way street or just a one-way.
it certainly could be a two-way street. I mean, everyone, all of the ISPs, all of the email providers, people's corporate accounts are all going to have their own spam filtering rules. And they're going to pass through ours and theirs and everyone in between.
To reiterate from the last meeting in our proposal, we will issue an email blast to parents if the board accepts this, indicating to please check X2 on a specific date, walk them through clicking on this tab to see their child's progress report, but they'll also obviously be able to see all of their assignments, grades, and attendance in real time. But there'll be a finite date to the actual progress report. We'll post it on their signs, on our signs out front, and on our websites.
What are you going to do about the population that doesn't get email? Send it out by mail? Or are they up to
Yes.
grab what they're doing?
Again, the people that were receiving paper copies of everything, of all correspondence, it's about 50 people in our school, would continue to receive the paper copies. As far as the emails go, I need to work with Sean on that to, again, address that small population.
Well, what
And
about-
send home the paper reports, yes.
What about the parents? I guess, what about the people that do not want to receive it and they want to receive a hard copy of it?
They could request that, and we would issue them a hard copy.
So it's not really all or nothing. If the board vote says, yep, we're going to go do this, however, parents have the option of opting out to it, or, I'll do it the other way, opting into it. The answer is, everyone gets a paper copy until you receive something that says, give me an electronic copy of it, an acknowledgement that they want this copy of it, so we don't leave everybody out. That's how I would like to see it done, so the parents have the option, not that they have to do something. They have to do something to get the electronic copy, and then from them on, they have the electronic copy. That's how I'd like to see it.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, you want us to...
Everyone gets a paper copy.
Yep.
And if the parents want to get an electronic copy, they send you an email saying, I'll take an electronic copy. And then they go that way. I guess the problem is if I give it to everybody, if I give electronic copies to everybody, I'm not in favor of it, but if someone wants to opt out into it, they can. That's, I guess, where I'm going. Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know that I agree with Ron, but I just wanted to be sure that this is broadcast on the reader boards in front of the schools, because frankly, 100% of the time, I found myself driving by those boards and going home to ask about the progress report that I never got. So, you know, that to me is important. I mean, I understand the concept of opting out, but you know, it's not like a bank. We can't offer them $1 off their next fee to opt into getting it electronically. I know it was a difficult transition when we first went to electronic communications, but it's grown just immensely. Everything's online. You know, it could be a transition, what Ron's recommending, but to me, I think it's pretty reasonable to do these electronically. And the other benefit you indicated, there may not be parents that are going in and even know that they can see the grades and if they're attending class and all those intimate details, which now that they stumble along this progress report that they have to go look at, they're going to find out they can get a lot more information, at least until their kids are in college and they won't tell you anything.
One of the things I have a concern is the fact is that we're going to get all the complaints. I didn't get the progress report. And you're going to, I mean, the answer is you're putting the responsibility on the school, and then no matter what you did, in my mind, you're wrong because you didn't give them the piece of paper.
I understand, yeah.
And that's it. If they want to opt out of it, then they take the responsibility for going in and getting it, as opposed to you feeding them. And you know, it's a feeding process. And in a couple of years, everyone will be where you want them to be. And you can do it at your first, you know, your open houses. Almost do it right then and there in the future and say, okay, how do you want the progress reports? You want to get them electronically and get them all to sign off. That's just my opinion on this one. I just don't, I think you're asking for a can of worms by not giving them the option to opt out. And then you can guide them from then on.
Jay and Rich, when is the next progress report coming out?
March 12th.
Okay, so how about we do this, just to be secure on it? Why don't we send an email home to parents and say, you know, board's taken action on this, but what we're going to do the first time is have you much simpler, but if you would like your progress report electronically, please reply yes to it. And then, Sean, can we set up like a separate...
That's Sean territory as far as tracing the email back to confirm this is the family that wants the electronic version.
Yeah, I mean, We could work something out like
Okay,
that.
so why don't we do that so that Jay doesn't have 500 emails tomorrow morning on it? Okay? So, but we'll work something out so that basically people will say, yes, I want it electronically, and run it from there.
Okay, as long as only the people who want it electronically are replying, and we're only going electronically with people who respond saying, yes, they do. Otherwise, there are going to be the people who don't get electronic notifications from us to begin with,
That's correct.
and we're going to be wondering about that.
Well, yeah, those have already been taken care of, because Jay and Rich said, those people who don't have electronic communication, we're going to send paper copy anyways.
Okay.
Just want to alert the board, our progress reports do go out a little bit earlier, the 5th, than the high school. So we'll do our best to follow that, Nate. If not, then we'll send paper copies home the third quarter and go ahead with this.
Yeah, the worst thing that can happen is that somebody gets it electronically and they get it on paper. That's the worst thing that's going to happen, right? So, and then we can find out, and then we can transition, and I'm assuming that things will work out well, then we can transition to the all electronic stuff. And, you know, when you have your meetings and the transition meetings between 8th and 9th grade, mention this is what we're doing. And it may be an impetus to, to get that remaining 5% to give us, to do the electronic communication also. And you can also tweet what you're doing, because both of you guys can tweet. Okay.
Does this save any money?
I think so. I mean, indirectly, you have main guides working upstairs to track all the grades for the teachers, make sure they're all posted. Then they run the reports. Then they fill the mailboxes. The teachers are now issuing those. Morning. Again, it's a week old. The news is a week old, essentially, by the time that process unfolds. So I think as far as time, energy, and 3,000 pieces of paper going out, yes.
Okay, so then once they're issued, the transportation method is the high school students rush those home to their parents.
Again, we couldn't confirm or deny that the parents saw it in that regard. We're making a huge assumption that they do, and we're just letting parents know that they have the progress report went out, your child received it today. That's through email, that's through our newsletters, that's through the signs of the message boards.
So it wouldn't be inappropriate to allude that the district could save money in personnel time if you decide to opt in as a parent, much like we saved postage when people opted into emails.
Yep.
Right, good.
Nate might have covered this, I might have missed it, but are we able to send a cover note with the next progress report saying that the electronic, you know, we'd prefer to do electronic, please, you know, return this note if you want to take the electronic version?
Now the student's going to rush the note back to the school.
Absolutely. Signed Epstein's mother.
Any other questions?
Okay, did nobody get that, or was it just not funny?
I got it.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
I probably didn't get it.
Okay, next item is 7.1, Nate, discussion on potential instructional time options.
Yep. And I apologize ahead of time for my froggy voice, my adolescent voice, or whatever. You guys remember the old Buster Brown show?
No, that's one I don't.
Okay. I'm dating you.
I remember the shoes.
Right, Buster Brown shoes.
Yes.
And it was the show called Buster Brown, and there was a character on it, Froggy.
Yep, Froggy.
You magic finger, Froggy. Kids,
Hush puppies, I used to like hush puppies. Or PF
Okay.
Flyers.
Mr. Zakili's pretty old, he might remember.
Yeah. All right. I mean, excuse me. A component of a continual school evolving evolution, a sustainable, evolving school system
Yeah,
is...
the state doesn't want us using evolution.
Well, yeah, they had a 10-year-old, though, who put to shame, I guess, the sponsor of the bill when he testified yesterday and got a standing ovation.
Assuming he understand, well, never mind.
Okay, anyways. But a component part is looking at time. One, how much allocated time you have, as well as how much engaged instructional time you have, and how much time allocated for each subject. In and of itself, time is a tool for improving delivery of instruction, right? And should be looked at as a component part of